What is freaking up? My name is Eve.
My name is Sara.
And we are Burnt Out Perfectionist. And the topic of this delightful podcast is toxic productivity and toxic positivity. Because Sara wanted to give me more than one P. So I actually prepped for this episode, which I have never done. Literally ever. And the definition from, I don't even know, it's not the dictionary because it's more than one word.
Is it Wikipedia?
No, it was like this random, it like was the first one that popped up when I looked it up. So toxic productivity is the drive to be productive all the time, not just at work, but in every area of life. Signs of toxic productivity include feeling guilty for taking breaks and prioritizing your to-do list over your health and relationships, which I feel like is pretty much the entirety of my YouTube right now.
Right?
Like, I would say, like, old Alicia, 1,000%.
Old Alicia, or, like, if you've ever looked up, like, productivity tips, like, my entire homepage on YouTube is just cluttered with it. And it's, like, a variety because, obviously, the algorithm can see that I have, like, mom content. So then it's, like, mom productivity, how to be the best, most organized mom, how to be the best, most organized worker, how to work from home and be productive. Like, it's just chronically in your face. There's books about it. There's also productivity ads that come up on my fucking YouTube. Now? Oh, the YouTube. I'm gonna be that old lady who says that. So like Monday.com will show people like working virtually, and they'll show stuff like that, or say like Asana. So tools that assist with productivity will be just like plaguing your life if you start looking at stuff like that.
What really gets me is the day in the lives. Like, I'm like talking about the good old like 2016 and 2018, like day in the life with me. I wake up at 5:25 every single morning, and I take 2 shots of ice cold water and 4 immunity shots. Then I go on a 6-mile run. I'm sorry, I'm not even moving before the sun comes out. Or like if I'm waking up, I'm not drinking 2 shots of ice water and immunity shots.
My favorite is the ones who were like, yeah, so I wake up at 5 a.m., which, fun fact, I wake up between 5 and 5:30 every day. That just is what works for my life. Is it my choice? No. Is it what I need to do? Yes. They're like, I wake up at 5 a.m., I brush my teeth, I go to the bathroom, I have a shower, and then I journal. And they're like, it's 5:30. I'm like, first off, are you washing your hair properly? Second off, how the fuck are you journaling? I can barely comprehend life. Like, I could read emails and catch up on communication really fucking easy. But, like, you don't see me out here paying my fucking bills at that time in the morning. There is a high chance that my dyslexic ass reverses those fucking numbers. And I pay, like, $500 to my cell phone provider instead of whatever I need to pay for my home services, because it's 2 different bills. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't even know what people would journal that early. Like, you know when people wake up and they're like, the good old Christians, they like do their devotions and everything. And I'm like, do you have a large print Bible? Like, how can you read that tiny printing?
I know, I feel like it's like always based on routines and stuff like that. And like, I mean, if that's your journey, but that shouldn't be everybody's, right? Like, not everybody wakes up like, I wake up good to go, but I call myself like zombie Sara. Like, just don't get in my way. Let me do things, and you're going to get minimal speech out of me while I do things.
I would like to say I highly relate to Anna waking up in Frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when her hair's just out of sorts, she's half asleep, there's drool in her face. I was like, yep, that's me in the morning. Not the, I wake up and I look, except for those people who are like, it's like the natural girls, but like the night before, they like do self-tan contour, they like tint everything, and then they're like, I wake up and I just feel so much better. And I'm like, that's a lot. I wake up and I go, let me move my bun that was on top of my head to a low bun so it's not pulling, and then I'll try to locate my toothbrush.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the best definition of Anna in my life is my daughter. She literally drools everywhere. She's sleeping. She's like, Mom, can you help me get dressed? I'm like, yeah, of course I can. But yeah, like I'm constantly fascinated. Like you said, there's the day in the life videos. There's the videos based on Amazon buys and what can make you more productive based on
My God, the Amazon
buy.
hacks.
The Amazon hacks, the additional buys, the toxic productivity of it, of like, oh yeah, you work a 9 to 5 job, but you should also have a small business. You should be finding other ways to have revenue streams, because if you're not, you're lazy. Like, that mindset terrifies me, because like, you're chronically on the go. Like, when are you going to burn out?
Well, my other thing too is that like a lot of the YouTubers that I watched, they were like, oh, well, I work from 5 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. I'm in bed by 10. There's no waking me up from that. I will be in bed by 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I also question like when people do, there's like some people who record how much they like study, and they'll study for like 6 hours straight.
Oh my God, how?
And they don't take breaks.
Oh, I saw a study that in order to be productive, especially if you're neurospicy, you're supposed to do 52 minutes of like content and actual work, and take a minimum of a 17-minute break in order to properly rest your mind. And it has to be something that's like super fucking distracting. Like, you're not looking at work messages or something. Like, you need to literally just shut off your computer and turn around, like take your dog outside or something.
See, like for me, like for turning my brain off, when I study, the best way I would study when I was in college is I would have like Friends on Netflix. I would have like a playlist playing in the background, and then I would sit at like a couch or something on a table and then have everything in front of me, and I could study for like 2 hours and I would be fine. But I constantly had my brain going, oh, look, Lisa Kudrow. Oh, look. Oh, I really like this song. I haven't listened to The Middle for like ever. But for everybody else, it's like, oh yeah, you need to study for 6 hours. You need to like make presentations that take 3 hours to do that you never look at again. You need to do this. You need to do this. And it's like, I feel like being told that you're not doing enough constantly allows your brain to be like, you're not doing enough because look, so-and-so has 4 small businesses, 26 revenues, and you're just like going to work.
And I think it comes back to like what you stated before, is like, then you have lack of appreciation for what you've actually accomplished. You're like, oh, okay, I had this list of 25 things. I did 15 of them. I have 5 things left. I'm a failure.
Well, the other thing too is the maintenance of it. I feel like they always, like in this like toxic productivity lifestyle, it's always like leaving everything until it's at the worst point, and then you do it all at once.
I think that's something like it as well. The other thing is like these chronic like almost pressures based around essential habits of life. So you need to drink all your water. So you got to get that, the water bottle that has the AM, PM and everything like that. That works for some people, but not everybody. I mean, I feel like I'm chronically trying to find a new water cup that somehow gives me inspiration to drink as much water as I'm supposed to be drinking. Then you have, so you've got that there. You've got the world's best planner in the entire world that's going to help you organize your entire life. You sit there, you're like, okay, but I better make sure that I have my meals made ahead of time, or I know what I'm going to have. Oh, but I better make sure that I supplement with vitamins and minerals. Oh, but make sure that they're these specific ones because those will help you digest. Oh, but you have to take these ones in the morning and these ones in the evening. And then it just takes what could be a simple routine and just like blows it out of the water. Like, it just makes it so complicated.
I feel like toxic productivity and New Year's resolutions have the same vibe.
Ew. I don't do New Year's resolutions.
Because, like, we know the January or whatever. Let's be honest. If you consistently go to the gym, you know the January. You walk in, it is so full, everybody's so motivated. But probably 75% of those people are also trying to lose 20 pounds in 2 days. They're also decided that they're going to cut out every aspect of sugar, every aspect of caffeine all at once. So then it's like, oh, I'm going to try to do this habit, but I've decided to change my entire life to fit this cookie cutter, what the world thinks. And then it's like, oh, I can't do that.
High pressure means high chance of failure, because you're sitting there and you're going through all of this stuff and you're making these significant changes, and then you're not accommodating for that, or you're adding too much pressure to it, and you may be applying yourself to a routine or a situation that doesn't work for you. What happens if you figure out that you have like PCOS and you're not eating properly, but you're trying to do all of these other things, and the exercises that you're doing that you saw a YouTuber do is counterproductive to what you actually need to do?
Well, and on the topic of like diagnosis and stuff, for someone like me who has ADHD, and it's like, yeah, I can probably do a million half-assed things all at once. And it's like, yeah, I could probably do all of this. But then on top of that, when you're like masking at work and then you come home and you're exhausted from this, but you're like, oh, I need to do this. And you get to the point that you just like, it's like a bottle and you just bubble over. You're just like, I'm so tired of everything else. But what also these people don't include is that there's many other aspects to life than your own personal routine.
Yep.
Like I am alone. But I also...
But not.
I'm alone, but I also live at home with 2 other people and a dog. So there's aspects and responsibilities of that. And I also have a job that I have to work at a specific time. And, you know, sometimes I have to work like 4, 5, 6 days in a row. I contemplate all of my life choices. And I'm like, well, now I know for next time. Like, I just got off of like a 6 row like a month ago. And I was like, you know, next time I have to do this, I need to meal prep. Because by day like 3, I was taking like a pepperoni stick and a cracker.
You are a chronic snack eater.
No, but I couldn't even make like I was like,
yeah.
My mom was like, oh, do you want to take this? And I'm like, no. And then I'd wake up in the morning, 10 minutes before I needed to leave. And I was like, yeah, I can last the whole day on a pepperoni stick and a cracker.
Yeah, which A, isn't healthy, and B, but that's the whole thing. But also, just putting it out there, if you were to make all that food ahead of time, would you actually want to eat it? Because I did that meal prep thing where you put stuff ahead, and this is where my brain goes. This is such a productive idea, Sarah. What a great idea. Okay, I put all this stuff together. Oh, but if you put starch near protein for too long in a container, it can actually cause a reaction. It can make you sick. Did you know if you leave rice out for too long, it actually becomes super toxic? Okay, well, maybe I don't like that. Or I get to like day 3 and I'm like, ew, I don't want to eat that. I'm bored of this. Maybe I can change it up and it lasts like maybe another day. And then I'm just like, ew, I don't want to eat that. Like there's certain things, but the funny thing is like I'll turn around and I'll have things like those mini naans that I've had the last bit. Or Eve bought a giant thing of pitas. And I was taking them and I was putting either goat cheese, because I'm allergic to dairy, goat cheese or like non-dairy cream cheese on it, thinly slicing tomatoes, putting vinaigrette reduction on it to make it fancy, and then putting like random herbs and stuff on it.
What gets me though is that like for meal planning for me, I usually hyperfixate on a specific food. My most recent one was croissants. I ate croissants with every single meal. I make a sandwich. I make a breakfast sandwich. I would eat it regularly. I make it in croutons. I would eat so many croissants that I was just like, I don't really like croissants anymore. But all of these people are telling me that I need to meal plan and do all of this. So how I've broken meal planning is I buy all of the ingredients, but I make 3 different meals. So if I wanted to make like lunches for the week, I say I had like a taco salad, and then I had, I used the vegetables and stuff and I made a sandwich. Or I did something that was slightly different, but it used the same ingredients. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm eating taco salad for 3 days. I just don't want to anymore.
That makes sense. I think the whole thing as well is like, oh, well, if Like that is a productive thing to do, and you found a useful way to do it. But it's just, to me, it's that chronic thing that is just always in our faces about always having to do something. Like, having a job is not enough now.
I don't like, it's like they took like the baby boomers mentality of you need to do these steps to be happy with life.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you don't need a person. You need a lifestyle that takes up your entire life, to which you're going to the gym for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day. You're going 3 times a day. You drink so much water, which, like, fun fact, I don't know if you know this. You're only supposed to drink as much water as, like, you're actually supposed to increase it slightly, because once your urine's clear, you're overhydrating yourself.
Yeah.
You need to have color because it means the toxins are coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Not that you need, like, we always grew up with, like, the apple juice mentality. If it's that color, then you're good. Then you're, like, should probably drink more water. But it's, like, that extreme. But at the same point, it's, like, if you don't have... If toxic productivity was a person, it was the plastics. If you didn't have this Gucci bag, then you were a useless piece of shit.
That's the whole thing, is it's causing, that's why I was like pointing out like the water bottle. I mean, I've looked at this stuff too, but like the things that you can put underneath your desk for, obviously some will use that for like, just like movement.
Oh, the recumber
or
bikes?
like stuff like this. Yeah, but it's like, oh, well, you're sitting at home. Sitting is death. You shouldn't be sitting. You should be standing. You should always have a sit-stand desk. You should do this. Yes, I understand that there's health things when it comes to that, but sometimes not everybody can afford a sit-stand desk. And there's all those kind of like additional habits, but all it does is just push mass consumerism. It's like, oh, you're not perfect at doing a million things at once. Here's a new gadget, or here's this thing over here that's going to save you time. Like the choppers that were huge on TikTok, those choppers have been around forever, but people are like, oh, well, I can chop and make a salad or prep all these veggies and everything, and it's so quick. And then that's kind of more of like a North American mindset, where it's like, oh, I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Because I work with somebody who is actually from Italy, and he said that is the grossest thing I've ever heard of. I would never meal prep. Like, you're supposed to go to like the baker. You're supposed to go to the individual places, like even like daily, so you're getting fresh things with fresh nutrients. And you're supposed to, like, you make your food and stuff like that. Like, it's an experience. It's a whole like emotional thing, versus where we just see it as, well, I have to feed myself, so I better make sure I'm productive while I'm doing it.
Well, and like eating 3 meals a day sounds terrible. Ugh. I'm working on it now, but I would just like, I forget to eat constantly, and that's definitely thanks to ADHD. But for toxic productivity, I feel like there's a specific routine where, like, yeah, if you took that routine and you took out like 75% of the items that they use, like, oh, I have this Lush yoga mat that I bought for $400, or I did this. Not saying that you shouldn't like upgrade the products that you have, but when you start a habit, you probably shouldn't buy the most expensive product.
And that's the whole thing. Is that's funny that you say that, because I know a lot of people who will go out and buy the most expensive sneakers. They'll buy the most expensive athletic wear as they're starting a new journey or a new sport or whatever. And they're choosing to do that, like, whatever, their money, their choice. But I know, like, my mentality is always, I don't know if this is because of budgets that I grew up on, but my mentality is, okay, you know what, I've gone to, I'm going to start my gym journey or whatever. I should give zero fucks about what I look like going to the gym, because I'm going to the gym for that purpose. Nobody else except for me. So I go into the gym and I wear whatever I want, and say after I've been going for 3, 4, 5, 6 months or whatever, and I decide, hey, like, my leggings fall down. Maybe because there was weight loss, or my body changed, or just like the elasticity of them. Okay, well, when I go to buy new ones, maybe I won't just buy the amazing quality $13 ones that are at Costco that I love. Maybe I will choose to invest in something like the next level up, which is like Old Navy. I don't see the purpose in Lululemons. I don't see the added benefit in them because that's just not me. But maybe I would look into like Potflex or something. Like there's like as you grow in something, I feel like, oh, okay, well maybe you can get that stuff, but also like rein yourself back. You don't have to buy expensive things in order to do the thing.
Well, the same thing too is that like if you envision yourself, if you're wanting to start a habit, which I always say choose one. Mm-hmm. Start off like you're a seed, and then once you've like become a flower, then invest.
A beautiful butterfly. It's
a beautiful butterfly.
I watched Bugs Life on the weekend.
But I'm just like trying to think of like active. I have a rule that I will try anything new. The one thing I will not fuck with is my coffee. 19 years I've had the exact same coffee. Is the coffee brand the same? No, but I've made it the same. And every time I try to mess with it, I'm like, I'm not happy. There's no like glamour in me going to work. There's no like, I applaud the people who can wake up and do that. But at the same point, they're the people who 6 months later, you see the green sweater pop out with a breakdown video. And you're like, well, why are you putting your pressure on yourself? Like you should try to be the best that you can. Toxic productivity is just constantly telling you, like, hey, this is the cookie cutter you need to be. Oh, that doesn't work for you. You're the broken one. Not the product, not the cup, not the freaking water bottle.
Not the haircut.
Also, who the hell cares if you get smile lines from, like, smile wrinkles from straws?
The smile wrinkles from straws, or the like, you didn't know this is an issue, but it's an issue. So you need to buy X, Y, and Z in order to help with this. And that will make your life happy. And that's where it kind of leads us into toxic positivity. So I will always be a cheerleader for somebody. I will always be excited and supportive and stuff like that, unless I see like harm happening within it. Like if my friend's like, I'm so excited to meet this guy. He sent me a message on Craigslist or whatever, and I'm going to go meet him in a dark alley. I would be like, no, you're not. You're going to ask him to meet him in a public place. You're going to find all these other things. Then I'll offer it. But this chronic, like, you must be productive and you must be positive and happy at all times, because if not, you're pulling everybody down.
Well, and like an interesting one for me that I think of is when somebody loses weight. And it's automatically that people go, oh, you just look so much happier. Even with like skinnier people, because, you know, I'm not the skinniest person in the world. If they eat a salad, they're like, oh, really keeping up that health journey, aren't you? But if someone who like maybe isn't and wants to eat a burger. I eat burgers all the time. Even though
I fucking love burgers.
It's like, oh, so I see you're not taking care of yourself. People are like, you go, girl. You do the best that you can. And you're like, I'm fine. Or like they're like, I just wanted to check in on you and make sure you're living your best life. No.
Live, laugh, love.
Literally the embodiment of live, laugh, love. All of those fun quotes where they're like, oh, like people over exaggerating things, or like they'll take something that's meant to just be like a nice thing to do, and make sure that everybody in their entire circle knows that they did it. Like, oh, so-and-so is sick, so I brought them this delightful care package that I posted on Instagram. I made a YouTube video on how to make it. And I posted 5 TikToks about me making it, handing it to them, and seeing their reaction. All because it's a great thing, and because I'm a wonderful person. And then you sit there and you're like, oh, my friend's sick. Do I need to go make a basket?
Yeah, suddenly there's like added pressure on stuff. I mean, you can do what you want to do. And if your friend is sick or your friend's having a hard time, sure, go ahead and do that. Literally in your face, or to the point where it's like Stepford Wives. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
One more time, what did you say?
Stepford Wives.
Stepford?
Okay. I need to educate you with a movie later. Essentially what it is it's, we could relate it to and call it, now that the movie's coming out, Barbie syndrome. So where you're just sitting there going, everything is perfect. Everything is great. Look at our wonderful family. Look at all of these great, wonderful things. Meanwhile, there is terrible shit happening, and you're just glazing it over. Like, the toxic positivity that bothers me the most is, like, the ones that are reflected on social media. Like, if you're posting all this super positive stuff, meanwhile, you're going through a bunch of shit, that's not realistic. Then people will be going through their feeds when they're upset or looking for advice, because that's how we find a majority of things nowadays. And it's like, oh, but everybody's happy. There's something wrong with me.
Well, and then I feel like the opposite of that is like toxic negativity. So, everybody had that friend that was just constantly down.
We call them the Eeyore.
The Eeyores. And then, for instance, like, say if Sarah was having a bad day and I was the toxic negativity, and I looked at her and said, you know what, Sarah? There's children dying in Africa. Like, anything that you do is compared to that. Or you have the person who's constantly positive, who, like, say something's terrible going on in Sarah's life, and you're like, well, at least you're not dying.
Oh, but don't worry. You'll get through this. Can you help me get through it? Like, I'm coming to you as a person. Can you help me? No, but you've got this. Cool, I've got this. Why do you think I've got this? Like, can you give me the context behind that? You go, girl.
Well, and
I'm like, is this AI? Is this an automatic chat response? What is this?
And, like, a huge thing, like, I've been starting to, like, quote more. Sounds kind of cheesy, but is I envision life like a road. And, it used to be like a novel. I don't want it because I feel like my life would be a freaking trilogy at this point. But if you envision your life as a road, if you have a toxic negative person, there's a sinkhole in the middle of the road. You can't move. Toxic positivity, there's nothing on the road. It's a straight way. The sun is shining, nothing's wrong, flowers are blooming. If you have the regular person, the road got speed bumps. Does the speed bump stop your life? No. Do you appreciate once you get over the speed bump? Yes. We all go to the same destination, but you got the person who's like, I went to the store and they didn't have this. They didn't have this. They didn't have this. Why in the world doesn't have that? Does it really affect your life that much?
And I think that's a huge thing, is it's just like, and we're not talking about the kind of toxic positivity where it's like you're given a shitty situation and you try to find the good in it or see the devil's avocado, the other side of the situation. That's not toxic. That's realistic thought. That's trying to find either the positive aspect of that or just trying to see it from another person's perspective. That's totally different. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like the blank unemotional responses. Instead of saying like, I'm here for you, it's like, okay, what do you need from me?
It's the listening versus hearing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you hear me talking about this, but are you actually like listening and like trying to find solutions? And like sometimes it's like, I just need you to hear me out. It's not like, oh, like you're having a bad day. Have you thought about like doing this? No. I'm just saying I had a bad day and I needed to state that I had a bad day.
Oh, exactly. Or like, man, or have you thought about getting your nails done? No, because me being frustrated about blank is not going to be fixed by having my nails done. Like, I'm not that, if that's your way of zoning out in order to like be in your head to think about it, probably like what I do, like shower thoughts with Sarah, whatever works. But it's just chronically out there. Like, I opened up my YouTube page. I opened up TikTok. I opened up Instagram. And it's work out more. It's you need to look like this. Or my favorite is throw out all your clothes and only buy basics. So that way everything matches. But that doesn't match my personality. Neutral. Oh, there's also, there's like, FOMO, or fear of really missing out, as I like to say. Where you're just like, oh, okay, I really want to save up for a vacation. But you see all these people going out and doing all these vacations and doing all this stuff. And you're just like, oh, well, I want to do it now, but I can't afford to do it now. Well, the toxic thing would be to be like, well, even though I can't do it now, I can't justify it and I really shouldn't be doing it. I'm going to put it on my credit card and go do it.
Honestly, credit cards, toxic productivity, like, stamp. It's like a symbol for it. It's like, oh, well, and that's not saying don't live your life, but you gotta live your life within reason. Because if you're wanting to spend 15 grand to go to, like, Greece, and you're like, oh, well, I couldn't really afford that. But somebody who you like, who's an influencer, probably got it, like, partially paid for, or was able to write it off, and they're like, oh, I'm really enjoying this and promoting it. And you're like, well, I want to do that. And I feel like the concept of saving is gone.
I will give a positive example of saving. So I have a friend who saved her money, and now she arranged everything so that way she can, like, work via the destination that she's in. Mm-hmm. And she's doing a trip on the other side of the world. And she organized that. She did all the things, and she prepped as much as she could ahead of time.
But
figuring
the
stuff
fact
out.
that she didn't immediately go, okay, I want to do this. I'm going to do this tomorrow.
But that's the whole thing, is, like, there was a lot of planning that came out of it. And another thing that came out of it was not a toxic positivity thing. It was a very positive thing. Is as she's stating all this information to me and so excited, and I'm like, yeah, like, I would love to do, like, Disneyland with my kid next year. Like, that is my main goal, is to do that. I think it would be so much fun. And she was immediately like, well, I live with my parents, so I have extra money. So I know that it's a privilege that I get to go do stuff like this. I'm like, no, I think it's awesome. Like, she's just going out there doing her own thing, being like a lone ranger. And that's awesome. And it's not like it's going to be spammed everywhere and sponsored or anything like that.
Mentality of, like, working towards something.
Or chasing the dopamine is the other thing as well, right? So those with, like, ADHD or sometimes other things will be chasing. I'll use a water cup again. I'm a chronic water cup buyer. I'll just call myself on it. But it'll be like, if I get this water cup that has a handle, that is, when I drop it over, only a little bit of water comes out because I knocked my mug all over my desk like 4 times. And I was like, I need a better solution. Anyways, I digress. If I get this mug, it will resolve my needs. But when I was looking at them, the number one thing that came out was the mug that everybody got last year, which is the Stanley one. And as I'm looking at it, it doesn't meet all the needs of what I have. I default to Yeti for a lot of things because of the longevity of stuff. Okay, well, does that work? Kind of, but not really. Okay, what's a better solution? This random brand that's on freaking Amazon. And I was just like, oh, okay, perfect. And I remember these cups being like $20, and I had to pay like $40 to get mine.
Which is really funny, because then I went to HomeSense and found one for $24.
Yes, which I feel like may or may not happen for me, because it winters, it's always a chance. Okay, so I got this and it works. Yes, I use it every day. Have I dropped it over? Several times. Has it gone all over my desk? No. Also, just as a PSA, please clean your water cups and your coffee cups and ensure that you're reading all of the instructions and removing all the seals, because that could be the reason why you're getting sick. And I think that's a huge thing that we can 100% end the episode. What fucking works for you. Do what fucking works for you, and fuck everybody else. Don't let people fucking tell you what to do.
Don't fuck everybody else, because that could cause other issues.
No, but I mean, like, don't, like, stop listening to the noise and just do what works for you. If it works for you to get up, go to the gym and do all those things, cool. If you are like zombie Sara in the morning from 5 to 5:30, you're still being productive. You're still doing the things, and you still get out the door.
Yeah.
So just do what works for you and stop listening to all this shit all the time.
And if you want to start something new, treat it like a 7-day free trial. And then if it doesn't work, then, that's fine.
I was going to say, but don't forget about it, like a lot of people do with that.
It's treat it like one.
Yeah.
And on that note, we will hopefully get you guys to listen in a couple weeks. So we hope you stay warped and twisted as ever, and have a wonderful day.
Good day.
Peace.